Hi, I'm here with Josh Payne, founder of Stack Commerce, to talk about what course creators can do to truly leverage partnerships, BD, and press to truly grow your courses. Good to have you here, Josh.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
So let's start from the top. Can you tell us? I mean, I know a lot of our course creators are familiar with either Stack Commerce, the company, or Stack Social, your website. Could you tell the rest of us what you guys do precisely?
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you a quick background on us. So stacksocial.com is a direct-to-consumer flash sale site for tech products. So that encompasses anything from games to software to e-learning, as well as gadgets and other physical technology products.
Yep.
A lot of mobile accessories, things like that. So we started out with that consumer flash sale site, and then we sort of transitioned over time to being more of a B2B platform that enables publishers, communities, instructors, app developers to monetize with commerce. And it's kind of a fancy way of saying, we build white labeled stores for people. So a good example is if you go to like deals.thenextweb.com, you'll see an instance of our application there. And so we help these content sites, mainly content sites, to generate incremental revenues and engagement with their readers by offering relevant products.
Are each of these sites completely independent, or is there like a common place that they all come together?
Well, they're all independent actually. I mean, very similar to Fedora. They have a very similar look and feel across all of them, and that's really just from a
Who
technology.
owns the user that kind of signs up? Is it shared ownership, or does the blog retain ownership?
We actually have ultimate ownership, but we license any information or data about the user back to the publisher for life. So it's kind of shared in some senses, but ultimately we own the data.
Okay, sweet. So let's talk about courses. I mean, I know I was on I think Stack Social earlier today, and a lot of products you're selling right now are online courses.
Yeah.
I mean, has this always been the case, or did you started with hardware and then realize, hey, we have perfect margins and um,
So ironically, we've been selling courses from the beginning. So we launched about 3 years ago.
yep,
Just to give you context, we're about 35 people now. We're here in Venice, California, in Venice Beach.
super jealous, but yeah.
It's about 72 degrees in December right now. And so yeah, we started off selling courses from the beginning, but it wasn't. I'd say in the beginning it was maybe 5-10% of our revenue,
Yep,
and today I'd say it's closer to 35-40%,
yep,
which is a significant amount for us.
yeah.
And
And
we
I presume your revenue has grown as well. So
yeah, revenues have grown significantly. We're well into the eight figures annually for revenue for what we do. We're actually having the odd distinction of being profitable, which in part is due to the fact that we distribute a lot of digital products, which have higher margins, right? I mean, which is a good thing for all course instructors. So yeah, I mean the number of them has increased a lot. The demand for them has increased a ton, and mainly for us, it's around the technical courses. We sell a lot in terms of app development and
yep,
as well as code development. A lot of people wanting to learn to code or learn to
yep.
design, or just sort of get into the realm of being a developer or a designer.
Yep. I mean, yeah, as you know, this course, Bitfountain talks a lot about their courses, and it's just so powerful when you can have one single course that someone can take and actually get a job being a developer just out of that.
Yeah.
Like an $80 course, it's incredible,
Right.
especially relative to like real classes, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars and be incredibly boring.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty insane that people are getting the same amount, out of these courses,
Yep.
that they are out of, going to a real world class and walking away and being able to actually build something from the ground up. It is incredible, and it works. I mean that's the fact. I mean we sold thousands and thousands of these courses, and I'd say the vast majority of these people are extremely happy with the end result.
Yep. So, I mean, just to recap for people that might not know, Bitfountain also has a pretty good relationship with Stack, and you guys have, sold a lot of their courses. How do you decide which courses to sell and not? Because I'm sure you probably get flooded, with a lot of requests. A lot of people want, the distribution, since that's the part a lot of people find the hardest. How do you decide what to sell?
Yeah, I mean, part of the uptick in course sales that happened over the last sort of 12 months or so kind of coincided with trends in development. So, with the rise of Swift and iOS 8, and also, iOS 7, there's a push to mobile app development, obviously. So one of the things that we do is, we look for trends, right? So start building courses around, and not today's trends, but maybe what's going to be happening in 6 months.
So every time Apple has a keynote, you're all listening, being like, we need to find creators to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. Every Apple keynote produces so much money. Like with the Apple Watch, for instance, Kickstarter became flooded with Apple Watch courses, like immediately, right after.
Right, and now there's actually courses on how to build, apps for the watch, the iWatch now as well. And there's courses for anything around it. But Android has been killing it for us as well. We're seeing a huge rise in the number of people that are wanting to develop on the Android platform, specifically around gaming. Has been really interesting. Android games. So I think, a key for
So when you see two competing courses in the same category, how do you decide which to go with? Do you actually have someone on your team watch it? Do you look at reviews? What's your process like to determine if something's a good course or not?
Yeah, we definitely have a pretty strict vetting policy. And I think we have a lot of those, they're really standard parameters, right? Like the first one is just quality, right? Course instructor quality. And that comes from, can you understand the instructor? Are they speaking clearly?
Yep.
Is the audio good?
Yep.
Another important one really is the visual aspect.
Yep.
How much time did they spend making the external packaging of the course look good? Because that's a prime indicator of if they don't pay attention to the details of the course early on, probably they're not going to pay attention to the details later. And so all of those factors matter a ton to us. And then after that, we look at the user reviews, how many people have taken the course, on different sites, either on the instructor site or other sites.
Yep.
And then, reading the reviews and kind of also doing a little background on that instructor. Where do they have any training? Have they been doing courses for a long time? So all these things kind of come into play.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's completely necessary, and that's one of the issues we've found with a lot of marketplaces that are not as well curated. Is you try to give people a consistent experience, but you have courses of such different qualities that you can take a great course on Udemy, for instance, and take a pretty terrible course. And that must be pretty challenging to kind of control for.
Yeah, and I think that's the sort of the unique thing about us, because we get to handpick every course that we run.
Yep.
So nothing on Stack Social or any of our partner sites, gets on the site without being vetted by us and handpicked. And I think that's sort of one of the benefits about us versus say a Udemy or some other guys is that if you're coming here, you're getting it kind of on sale and you're getting it vetted by us to make sure that it's a great course. Yeah.
Cool. So, you say, you guys are doing 8 figures in revenue, courses are doing, 35-40% of that. I imagine you made a lot of people quite a bit of money.
Yeah, we have.
How many $1 million courses have you had since that's?
I think we have at least $4 or $5 million. $4
or $5 million courses.
Yeah, I'd say instructors.
So across their body of work.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and now that's over the course of a couple of years, but even still, this year alone we've had one instructor do into the 7 figures this year.
Yeah. That's so powerful, especially when you think about how teaching traditionally has been a profession that's, it's traditionally been a profession where people have always felt teachers have been underpaid. So it's pretty cool to see just the power of an individual teacher. Yeah,
no, dude, sometimes it makes me want to quit my job and go become a course instructor.
Yeah, totally. Same thing building a platform. I'm like, to get to $1 million in net revenue will take a while. I could just, sit down and make a course. But it's powerful, and honestly, it's not that easy. I'm sure if we actually went and tried to make a course completely from scratch, we'll find that it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. But sometimes when we're writing these checks to some of the instructors, I'm jealous because it's 1 or 2 guys. Typically it's pretty incredible.
Like John and Elliot, same thing, right? Right. Conrad and I, we went to Berlin to record this course that we're in. We were like, these guys are, we work really hard. These guys are here living the life, have apartments all over Europe, and just recording really, really good iOS courses.
Yeah, they're living the dream, right?
Yeah, cool. But so back on topic. One of the things you guys do really well that a lot of course instructors find challenging, and we have an entire section dedicated to what they can do, is actually finding distribution. A lot of teachers are, good at creating content, but what they find challenging is to build a distribution list. Talk us through kind of how you built a distribution list, because you probably started with the idea for this website and probably no built-in market. How did you go about creating an audience and finding your audience?
Right. Yeah, I mean, for us, like I said, we started out with just our own direct-to-consumer site, and then we evolved into this platform. And the reason we did that is, we were able to do something that other people weren't, which was find other sites that had, other content sites that had the same type of interest affinity, right? And find products that related to them. And so we were able to build, our list off the backs of these other sites.
So how did you get your first site? Because I know once you have a few sites, you have a case study, you can be like, look, X did this and this is what they did. How did you get site number one?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. I'll try not to go too deep, but basically it was in the very beginning of Stack, and we had a goal for a distribution set for a particular bundle that we put together, and we were 10% of the way there, and I was kind of at my last straw, and the next morning was the Worldwide Developer Conference for Apple, and at the time I was still, this was in the very beginning of Stack, I was still full-time in my other job, and I called in sick and I flew up to San Francisco, and I crashed an Apple blog party, and that was it was for Cult of Mac. Literally, it wasn't invited, kind of snuck in somehow, hunted down the publisher, his name's Leander at Cult of Mac, and kind of just...
He's going to get a lot of emails after this from other people pitching in products, but go on.
I know, right? And basically asked him about, he had actually posted about the bundle earlier in the week. Actually, excuse me, one of his competitors had posted about the bundle earlier in the week, and so I knew if Cult of Mac posted, if I just got blog post from him, that it was gonna, get us a ton of sales. And so I kind of instead of pitching him, I started asking him questions. Why do they post on what they post on? What are the benefits to them? And two things basically came in. They want great content, things that are great stories, and they want to make money, right? And not all blogs make money from affiliate revenue or from commerce revenue, but Cult of Mac was open to that. And so once I found that out, I began to sort of hypothesize with him, how could we not just do one post, but how could we build a partnership over time? How can I curate great products for you to recommend to your audience?
And at the time, you had no case study. You were pitching him this brand new idea.
Yeah, brand new idea, because all I knew was that if a blog that is in your same interest category posts about you, you will get a flood of traffic. So it's kind of all about how do you make that happen? How do you make that a repetitive thing? How can you get that more than once? And I think as an example, outside of me, looking at BitFountain, for instance, those guys, they've been able to do some really creative stuff on Product Hunt. I mean, I'm kind of surprised every time I turn around.
They've hit number one every time.
Yeah, I mean, so there are ways to do it. I mean, so the way we did it was we found, publishers, basically blogs.
I think the other kind of mini lesson in here that we've tried to talk to people about, and it's just so hard to articulate, is the idea of the hustle, right? Sometimes you want to get something done and you do whatever it takes. So, flying to San Francisco and finding a guy in a bar that works for Cult of Mac is a great example. And it's not perfectly reproducible. You can't do the exact same thing, but just if you want something hard enough, just hustling until it actually happens.
Right. And you got to remember, it's all about what you can do for the other person. I think the thing about startups that people they forget all the time, they think about themselves all the time, what the benefit to themselves is. And I think Noah Kagan's a great proponent of this. You need to give. You need to love your partners and your customers to the point where, in the benefit equation, they're getting way more benefit than you. And if you take care of that, then eventually it will come back to you. I mean, even in how we've worked together, you made sure that the benefit equation benefited us, Stack Social and Stack Commerce, way more than Fedora. But that got us hooked, right? And so absolutely. We want to do more and more. So I think that's another just small lesson for people to remember.
I think the other kind of important thing here is you went and made a relationship offline, and people tend to kind of underestimate, how important that is. For instance, we're talking to Paul from iPhoneDev.tv, and he had iPhone Life write about him, which is again, very niche targeted publication. He got a ton of sales from it. And I was like, how did you do this? You're one guy. And he's like, well, this guy happened to live in Rochester. And they're like, and I met him at a meetup, and we got drinks. That matters so much. I mean, leverage the network around you to actually make things happen.
One of the things one of our head of sales does all the time that cracks me up is like he'll send physical gifts
Yeah.
to people that he wants. Like he'll send someone like flowers or cookies or like just whatever. And I'm like, I kind of cracks me up because I'm like, does that really work? And he's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
It gets people's attention because no one else is doing it.
Yeah, one of our instructors, Scott Herf, he has Xcode for Designers. See, I'm pimping his course out because he did this, but when he launched, I mean, it was like a pretty big launch, but we helped him out a lot, helped him on the weekends, did that kind of stuff. When we actually launched, he texted me, being like, "Hey, what's your address?" And I was like, "All right, whatever, I'll give him my address." And an hour later, there's 2 bottles of whiskey and a bottle of tequila for the team, which
That's
was
awesome.
which is great because now our entire team knows him. Every time he has a support issue, the immediate association is the bottle of Patron lying on the desk.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's cool. Okay, so back to kind of building an audience. So the blog, you use channel partnerships, which again is something a lot of instructors can do. Try and get people to write about you. Maybe even set them up as an affiliate, since essentially that's what you're doing, right? These guys are affiliates, and they're making a commission of every product or every course sold.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's probably one to go into that we didn't talk about in advance much, but having a solid affiliate program and leveraging that. I mean, everyone wants to make money, right? So if you can create a great affiliate program and just email those people often, explain to them why it is that they should why how they can make money off distributing your course is a huge thing, and obviously leverage. In the early days, leverage other people's affiliate programs, whether it's Stack Social or Fedora or whoever it is, right? Go find the communities that have a ton of users. Get your course kind of listed there, and then build your initial user base off of that, and then import that list back to your home base.
So a question we get a lot about affiliate commissions, and again, you don't have to kind of share your numbers, but people are always confused with regard to, how much should I offer? Most of the precedent we've seen is just a straight 50-50 split to the person actually selling and the person producing the course. Would that fit in with your recommendation, or do you think course creators should go higher or lower?
That seems pretty high to me, actually. Again, I think because it is digital, the course creators are able to give away a lot more of their margin than they normally would. What we do is 10%, 10% of gross.
Okay.
That's our standard affiliate. So if you look at Amazon, they give typically between 4 and 8%, depending on the product. And that's because a lot of those are physical products and they have lower margins. So I would just
I think the reason even 50-50 happened is because in the dirty world of internet marketing, there were tons of products that were like so bad that the product creator would get like 10% and give the affiliate 90%, just because they were creating like these terrible ebooks of how to lose belly fat in like 21 days. And I think that's kind of got the affiliate commissions moving really, really high because they were still information products that have no margin.
Well, yeah, and let me clarify. So like 10% of gross is kind of what we do for any Joe Schmo that like wants to sign up that's not qualified and they just want to do something.
Yeah.
But for instance, if we have a strategic partnership with a partner or a site that has a large list and they promise to do certain promotion on social or advertising or Twitter or email or whatever it is, then we do tend to split that and move to a 50-50 on net. So yeah, I want to sort of clarify that
the advice we give people is your standard affiliates that just want to sign up and be affiliates for a lot of different places are usually a waste of time. Like the amount of value they bring in versus the time you spend on them is probably not worth the effort of just finding a few really high quality affiliates that care deeply about promoting your product and are just not being affiliates to absolutely everyone. Right. Maybe that's a student that has really enjoyed your course. Maybe it's a publication that has a good relationship with you, or a company like yours where you after a certain while, I'm sure you believe in an instructor, and once you know that their products are good, you're going to sell everything they produce in the future, which is like a long-term relationship that's a lot more valuable.
Yeah, if you're just doing a standard affiliate thing, like I would just have some set percentage. But if you want to go out and work with AppSumo or Stack Social or whoever, then it's going to be more like 50-50 on net. Like that's going to be the typical partnership. Because I think of those as more partnerships than standard affiliate.
Yeah, I guess that's why when I first said affiliate, you're like 10%. But yeah, I guess partnerships is the essence of what we're trying to talk about here.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
So you grew it. Obviously, partnerships was a huge part that helped you grow your business. How big a role did PR play, like the traditional kind of press?
Yeah, so for us, and just to provide a little bit more information about Stack Commerce, I mean, we have over 500 publisher partners today. So that encompasses everyone from AOL to CNET, and of course like the Cultimag, the Next Web, and tons of other IGN and tons.
Are they all English? Like, have you expanded into different languages yet?
Yeah, well, not on purpose, but we do have a lot of partners or affiliates that are based in other countries, but our site is only in English. Like, we don't have the internationalization.
Is that something you've thought about, like kind of as an avenue for growth? Because I know personally we're seeing really good results in Spanish language courses targeted to Spain, not to Latin America, because Latin America uses different payment processing. But we're starting to see, really good traction in Europe in like local languages.
Right. Yeah, we've thought about it. It's just tough. You always have to sort of choose your priorities, and for now we're here, but I think eventually we'll definitely do that.
Yep. So back to kind of PR. I mean, how important has PR been to help you grow your audience?
Yeah. So the reason I was giving the context about how many partners we have is that we lean on those partners as opposed to leaning on PR.
Yep.
To be honest, it might be different for other people, and every site kind of has its own strengths.
Yep.
Like for instance, if you look at AppSumo, their strength is around paid advertising as well as PR. I mean, Noah is a marketing genius, right? And my sort of skill set lies more around partnerships and business development. So that's kind of what we lean on. So I think to provide a little background, like just figure out what is your thing. I mean, of course, you kind of want to do a little bit of everything.
Super important. I mean, everyone has like that one thing that they're really, really good at. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to do with this interview is talk to people that are really good at one different thing. Like we have someone that's really great at Kickstarter. If you're good at crowdfunding, I mean, that's your business right there. If you're good at partnerships, that's your business right there.
Find that niche and run it. So for us, PR, like it's very, it seems very attractive. It seems very sexy. Like, when we've gotten PR, it provides probably 10% of the revenue and traffic that one of our business partnership articles might provide. Like PR does almost nothing.
And even a business partnership is recurring, while PR is one time. You have to work for every new push.
And like getting a hold of the journalists and like pitching them is like it's so much effort.
I would imagine you'd be able to get a hold of journalists easily now because I mean you have relationships with all these blogs though, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can get a hold of them, but I mean it's about providing like a very interesting angle, because they always need something compelling to talk about. So I have great relationships with several journalists, but unless you have something unique and specific to announce, there's not really much that they can do.
So with your experience working all these blogs, if an instructor finds a blog that's really in their niche and has written a lot about kind of what they're teaching, how would you recommend they go about trying to contact the blog and establish a relationship? Yeah,
that's a good question. I mean, again, you might in the beginning want to leverage a partner like their Stack Commerce or Fedora or another sort of course marketplace that can help you get that traction in. Because if you're just one of hundreds of instructors and you don't have the backing of someone else, like it is going to be tough. But once you've sort of established yourself, we have a couple of partners, earlier that we talked about, BitFountain, John Burra, Mark Lassoff. Like these are all guys that we've worked with and done tons of courses. Like once you get to a certain level, then I think you can go direct. Say, hey, listen, here's a case study, or here's like what I've done. This is why I'm relevant. This is why it's great for your audience, and then have that story.
Yeah. So I think the other bit of advice that like I've heard a lot and we've done as well is just treat like people like human beings, right? Like just go, you find a blog that you really like and think they'd be a great partner. Start by like following the journalists on Twitter, start a conversation, again, as you like what you talked about, keep giving something, before asking for something. So I think that would be the one thing I tell people, at least when they're trying to, find an in with a blog. It might not help just to hit up their tips and be like, I have this amazing tip, I have this great course. They're probably just going to ignore that. But if you form a relationship, maybe in person, maybe like online, but just get to know a person and have them know about you, I think that's a lot more compelling than, just alerting them or sending them your press release.
Absolutely, yeah. And in the beginning, I was trying to get hold of one of the writers for Lifehacker. His name's Adam, and was like stalking him forever. And really, it just kind of came down to, like, I began reading everything that he wrote, and in his articles, like there would be he'd have questions, like and I would find another article or help answer those questions and just say, oh yeah, I saw what you wrote about, like here's the answer to that, or here's another article that's very related, like kind of debate a topic with him without actually making an ask.
I think that's where Twitter is so great. I mean, journalists spend so much time hanging out on Twitter, and it's even for us when we're doing some sales and there's instructors we can't get to, Twitter is one of the first channels we use for high leverage instructors. Like it makes a ton of sense. Did you finally get to Adam from Lifehacker?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, he wrote several articles for us and ended up, now we have a huge partnership with Gawker Media and
Nice.
So
sweet. How did it finally happen? Like, how many touch points did you have before he wrote about you? Just to give it a sense of like, how long-term a commitment this is.
I mean, like dozens, like, probably like 15 to 20 interactions, and I think it's just about building that trust and relationship with them, just, on a different level. And then once they get to know you, and then what'll happen is they might start to follow you.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think actually pushes people over the edge is when you don't actually pitch them, but they see something interesting.
They discover it themselves. Yeah.
They discover it themselves, but they wouldn't have discovered it if you hadn't built that relationship with them, right? So they began following you because you reached out to them, and then you did something just in your normal.
Yep. So step 1, get on their radar. Step 2, do something cool.
Right. Done.
Nice. Yeah. I like it. It's so much harder than breaking it into 2 easy steps. But yeah, I think that's a good template. And I'd imagine, and I think ultimately about PR, it's one of those things that you probably want to always kind of form relationships in the back end, but it would be naive to expect that to carry your company or carry your course.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is one channel, right? I mean, there's so many other things that you need to do, but this is one avenue. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess just to kind of round this all up, if you were creating your own course right now, how would you go about promoting it outside of publishing it on Stack Social?
Yeah, right. That would be my number one way. I mean, obviously, creating my site on Fedora, step 1, right? And I think when I see what like the power of Product Hunt today and kind of what they're able to do, and Hacker News and Reddit. I mean, I would do something to catch people's attention, and that would actually be worthy of, because even as a company, we post on Product Hunt and our stuff doesn't make it to the top, right? Like, it doesn't matter how big or small you are, the wisdom of the crowd's like
one thing at least I've found about Product Hunt, and Bitfountain actually violates this rule in a lot of ways. Like, that's not why they do well. I think they do well just because it's a great product. But I found the Product Hunt community to be very design sensitive. So if you can spend a little bit extra time just making sure your landing page looks good, invest a little bit on the graphic side of things, at least anecdotally, I think that's super powerful on a community like Product Hunt.
Yeah.
And Product Hunt is big now, man. Like, we've had courses out there that like get 1,500 leads. Some of them get, 1,500 either free leads or 60, 70 purchases just from posting it there. Just super compelling.
It's big, yeah. So Product Hunt is not the only one, right? Hacker News and of course Reddit. But you got to do something to stand out. So that might mean giving your course away for free for 24 hours. It might mean having a really cool design or I mean what you're doing here with $1 Million Instructor. I mean, this is totally unique, right? And like you're making yourself and all these instructors stand out. So again, this is something that will probably catch the eye of Product Hunt and other people. So it's about doing something different, right? I mean, I think that's sort of the key. So I would start there, and then I would probably partner with again some of these either communities or flash sale sites like us that have distribution. You know, our email list is coming up on 1 million, subscribers, right? And so we have 1 million opt-in interested people that want to learn about technology. Yeah. So yeah, then I would probably partner with someone like that, and then after that, start to leverage other probably paid acquisition or some business development channels.
Yep. That sounds like a perfect blueprint.
Right.
Especially if you can find like the one or two people in whatever you teach. There's one or two like iconic people that have a massive following. If you can get them interested in you using the same strategies you outlined, in order that you did with Lifehacker and stuff, that can definitely take it to the next level.
Yeah, social proof is key, right? Like if you can catch the attention of someone, high up in the tech scene, and get them, Dave McClure or whoever, to somehow tweet you or tweet at you.
Or at least get a testimonial from him. If he's not promoting it, be like, hey, Dave. And I saw a really good hack actually to get more testimonials where someone sent me an email with 20 pre-written testimonials. It was the Google Doc with 20 pre-written testimonials, and I could put my name next to anyone. It was such an efficient way, because a lot of times, I like the product, I do care, I do want to help out, but I'm not like the effort to actually come up with testimonial is like this makes a 20-minute task a 20-second task. So
that's pretty hilarious actually. Yeah. But look, it's those kind of little hacks that like make the difference, right? And in that equation, again, that person put in all the effort, right? And all you had to do was like sign your name, right? Like, and that feels to me like a Tim Ferriss, kind of hack, a way to get people to do something that they normally wouldn't.
Yeah, so many things just come down to reducing friction. If you can make it easier for me to help you, I will help you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Cool, man. Thanks for coming on. It's been fun. Hopefully people listening have learned a lot, and I think you're going to be solicited by a lot of people that want to hit up your 1 million user list.
Yeah, hopefully, man. We're really excited. We'd love to work with more instructors, and again, for us, e-learning is only growing. So can't wait for 2015.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
All right. Thanks.